Darren and Cassius were always modeled after the Prince and the Pauper.
I am going to upload this vlog and then retire from YouTube. I have no need to be here anymore. This is like a classic YA story, so who needs parents, am I right? Is every book not just a string of events? I don't want to jinx it, but I am getting slight 5-star feelings. Hello my guys, this is not the entrance to the vlog that I envisaged. I'm currently in a train station car park, the jankiest train station car park, because for some reason Thursdays are incredibly busy and I'm on my way to London. I got here, I got my camera out and I realised that I've forgotten my memory card, so I'm gonna have to go and get myself one of those as soon as I get to London, because I am on my way to make content with Pierce Brown, the author of my favourite series of all time, Red Rising. I am so excited, but I'm also incredibly nervous. I had to miss his main event in London on Monday because I was at a different event for the launch of Bloomsbury Archer, but their publicity team reached out to me and asked if I would be able to come down and make some content for the Hodder socials, which they're going to be launching, I think, the TikTok of. And I'm going to be starting Graceline by Kristen Cashore, which is a YA classic. I have already started it. I managed to get the ebook from Libby and I'm like 5% of the way into it, so I'll give you some more information about that soon, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of context before I get myself on the move. We've already had one disaster today, which was forgetting my memory card, and then of course actually that I've ended up in this awful car park because the rest of them were full, but hopefully everything else will run smoothly. Okay, so I got my SD card and now I really need to go and get some food because I haven't eaten. I'm absolutely starving, and then I need to hustle over this day. Hopefully won't get any worse. Fingers crossed, keep your fingers crossed for me, I'm so nervous. Not to make him blush, but Red Rising is my favourite series. So.
Which means you're a civilized person.
Well, yeah, I have a Red Rising tattoo as well.
Oh, which one?
Okay, let's see if I can roll this up.
Himianthus? Oh.
That one.
Oh, it's sick.
Yeah.
All done by the same artist?
No, they're all different actually.
Oh, wow.
But I had somebody who had read at least the first 3 Red Rising books through this, so it has like Cassius,
the eagle coming in, yep.
My One True Love, we have Severo with the Howlers, Darrow's Side, Mars.
Himianthus down at the bottom.
And Himianthus down at the bottom, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Would it be vain if I got one?
I can hook you up with the answer. She's also a fan. New people who haven't read Red Rising, describe the series in 5 words.
5 words.
5 whole words.
Oh my goodness. Space.
That's a good one.
Hierarchy. Revolt. So, opera.
Yes, the drama.
Has to be extemporaneous. I have to explain it in 5 words, like off the top of my head, because otherwise I'll think about it for hours.
Oh, that's what I spend most of my day doing, just thinking about it for hours.
Yeah, so I'm just glad it wasn't an elevator pitch. Like, tell me in a minute. Oh no, that's too much time. Did you like Rubicon?
I haven't read it yet.
You'd love it.
Okay.
It's so great.
Thank
It's
you.
the meatiest period. It's 137 BC,
Okay.
the Gracchi brothers, all the way through to like Actium 30 BC, and it's like the sweet spot of my obsession about Rome. It's so good.
Okay, I'll add that to the recommendation list. Do you have a favorite like character relationship? It doesn't have to be a romantic one. But...
I was really surprised how much I liked Lyria and Cassius. Cassius and Darrow and Severo, that love triangle.
that's why my tattoo is the way that it is, because that is
that love triangle for me is like hilarious, because it's a bromance love triangle, right? And Severo was never in on it with Cassius, and always felt like the outsider, so of course he'd hate him, and he's the epitome of everything he would hate. But I think that scene in Morning Star where he jumps off, like we hang murderers, right?
Yeah.
Shows like the depth of Severo's character, and then later Cassius gets to show his depth towards Severo's character. I think both of those it's one of my favorite relationships. Those 3.
Yeah, good, because you do it so well.
Thanks. And Darrow and Cassius were always modeled after the Prince and the Pauper.
Oh, really?
Or the Fox and the Hound, rather.
Oh, okay.
So the Fox and the Hound is based on the Prince and the Pauper.
Yeah.
But it's basically Fox and the Hound. Have you ever seen that movie?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. So when it was all based on that scene of the Hound out with his brother hounds, now that he's part of the pack, and hunting the fox, and then he finds him.
Oh, that movie's so sad.
That scene is where Darrow and Cassius came from. Yeah,
that is incredible. This was me being quite conservative because I have a lot of different editions.
Which is your favorite? These ones?
The other Fairy Loot ones, the original ones.
These are pretty cool. These symbols, I love this. My buddy Joel made that symbol, but they stylized it.
Oh, I like these because they have the arting, because the other Fairy Loot editions were a little bit more simple.
was created with one single purpose, to bring fantasy and sci-fi legends to new generations of fans, and this is what we aim to achieve with everything we are doing, with all collaborations that we are doing, and with animation, as you might have guessed already. So personally, being that since probably I was like 5, watching anime since I could realize what is happening on the screen. Anything that was like super surprising or super absurd that your fan have created ever that you might be so astonished to see.
Yeah, I can say some of it. I shouldn't have given an address to send things to. Some more germane things, perhaps, are like meme culture. I never thought an author would be part of meme culture in the way that I feel like my fans have made me within the fandom. Also, they've done very simple things like creating artifacts. So they sent around a book of my first book and had 250 different readers sign it and write missives in it and annotate it. And so this book is tattooed the anger, vitriol, and love of the fans, and that was very special and unique.
Does it influence kind of you as you and your choices, and when it comes to kind of like publishing and choosing the titles to go for? Are you looking into like feedback communities, and how much does it do these answers like actually influence your choices?
I would say it definitely influences me a lot because I'm also the reader that I'm marketing to. The books that I publish are very much like the books that I read, so a lot of times if I'm reading a submission and I'm reading it in my free time, but it's technically for work, but it's also still my hobby because I'm just one of those people who has those kind of sensible boundaries. But so very much like I'll be on TikTok looking at what people enjoy, but then I'm also thinking, what do I enjoy as a reader? What do I want to read? And tropes, and that's the beauty of romance and romantasy and crossover of that, because it's always been around, it's just got a sexy new name, and TikTok is like word of mouth on speed. And I think a lot of what romance and romantasy works on is tropes and the formulaic sort of way that it works, and you're gonna have a happy ever after or a happy for now, but you don't know how you're gonna get there. How you doing? I am on cloud 9. Thank you for asking. I've peaked. I am going to upload this vlog and then retire from YouTube. I have no need to be here anymore because I have achieved everything that I came here to accomplish. I interviewed Pierce Brown and I got to hang out with him at a really intimate event, and it was one of the highlights of my year. They say that you should never meet your heroes, but this year I have met both Cody Rigsby and Pierce Brown, and there is nothing left for me to accomplish on this earth. Guys, can you believe it? I am still shook to my core, and I'm honestly still thinking about it. I've been thinking about it all day. I've done some editing. Aside from editing, I've pretty much just been potating because once again I got home at like 1:30 in the morning and I was like beat. The excitement and adrenaline of the day plus like the long day just really wiped me out. But if you'd have told me that 8 years ago starting a channel on YouTube would open the door to finding, discovering my favorite series of all time, but then getting to like one-on-one speak to the author and then hang out with them afterwards, I would not have believed you. And also John Gwynn was also at that event, and I had a good old chat to him because the last time I saw him was at a signing in Leeds last year, and I was telling him like, I haven't read any of your books, but from what I've heard I'm going to really enjoy them, and my book club is going to be starting them in the new year. So I came up to Mr. John Gwynn and I was like, look, my guy, I got a bone to pick with you. Why all the pain? Why all the sorrow? Why are you doing this to me? We only have one book left now and I'm broken. I am broken. He did give me the tea. I'm not going to tell you guys what he told me, but he did give me all the tea on his new series, which I am very excited about, and that will be coming hopefully sometime soon-ish. And by the time that's released, we will be done with all of the Banished Lands and also the Bloodsworn Saga, so I'll be excited to pick that up on release date and devour it, which is also very exciting. No word on Red God though. I do think we're still going to be waiting a while for that one. And I'll be honest, the only thing I want to do right now is start a reread of Red Rising. I did take some books to be signed, as you guys saw in the B-roll. I took my new Fairy Loot edition, so just the first 3 books. I would rather have took my older Fairy Loot set, but I wanted to take all 5 of them in that case, and I did not want to carry all of those around London. And then when I went to the second event, they were given with the goodie bags, which I'll show you guys in a minute. They were also given the like hardback anniversary edition of Red Rising, which I also had signed and personalized at that event. So my Red Rising collection has had a little bit of a glow up, and Waterstones actually took the money for the new like slipcase edition today, which I'm also very excited to get because I did see some of those in person yesterday and they are just as beautiful as I knew that they were going to be. But the reason that I went to that second event, the purpose of the event, was to introduce a new animation app called Ryu. Now I believe that this is going to be launching next year and it's going to be a like kind of TikTok style app with short form vertical content. The creators were there and they were talking about what their platform really means. It's all going to be human generated, no AI, which as we know is amazing. And they're also working on adapting some IP as well, which is really cool. I think they mentioned specifically like Dungeons and Dragons and bringing some of those stories to life in like short form animated content. And the goodie bag that they sent, I did pop it open on the train. So I was very excited. We have this big box which has something really cool in it. And the reason why I wanted to do this update right now is because I want to utilize what is in this big box. But they also had these little chocolates as well as this larger box of, oops, wrong way, of chocolates. They also had a handful of pins in here as well. I think this one is the logo for the app. And then I like the Become Legendary one, honestly. And in the big box, we have, let's not break this. We have a teacup and saucer, but the very exciting thing for me is that we have a bag of loose leaf tea. The reason why I'm so excited about this is because it's green tea and I've run out of all of the green tea that I enjoy. So I've been meaning to get some more anyway, but it's got sencha, jasmine petals and aroma in it, and it's the jasmine that I'm especially excited about because when I went to China earlier this year, our tour guide had some, I will admit it was black tea, it was jasmine black tea or black jasmine tea, and I've been thinking about it ever since. I went to a Fairy Lou afternoon tea with Hafsa Faisal and they also had amazing jasmine tea, and I've been thinking about trying to source some really good quality jasmine tea, and I know this is green so it's not going to taste exactly the same, but I'm excited to give it a try now that it is in my hands, and I'm excited to see what this app has in store when it does launch next year. I think it's a really cool idea, especially given the popularity of short form content and bringing like a curated space for animation in that format that everyone's loving right now. I do think is going to be really cool. Ryan Cahill was also at the event and I didn't know he was going to be there. Otherwise I would have took the proof copies that Broken Binding sent to me last week to have signed. But overall, it was just a really cool, really fun time, a really chill environment. And it's like a full circle moment for me meeting Pierce Brown, but also a pinch me moment because how the hell did I end up in that room with those people? I do not know. I don't know. Look at me. I'm just a weird little fangirl in a Rune Danan hoodie with crazy hair, no makeup and low energy. How did I end up in that? I actually made a really cool Instagram edit today. There's like a TikTok trend at the minute that's like in your 20s you will, and the first one I saw it was like in your 20s you will like meet a dog. It's very important you get that dog. So a lot of people have been adapting it to mean different things, and I made an edit of like in your 20s someone will recommend you Red Rising. It's very important that you read Red Rising, and kind of like my whole Red Rising journey from like reading the books to getting a tattoo to meeting Pierce Brown, and life is wild. That's all I can say on that matter. In terms of reading, I don't really have anything to update you on. I did read a little bit of Graceline, but on the way down I was like researching topics for the content that I was making with Pierce Brown, so I didn't read anything on the way there. And then on the way back I was just high on life, man. I was having a whale of a time in my own head thinking about the evening that I'd had. So I only read a couple of chapters, and today I have still been in my head thinking about the evening that I had. So I'm like 85 pages into this and I need to like sit down and give it like a good go and have a good reading session with this. Unfortunately, that is not going to be tonight because it's Fortnite Friday, but I am planning on doing that tomorrow. I might go to roller disco tomorrow because it's been a few months, and every time it rolls around I'm kind of like depressy and I don't really want to go, but I want to go, you know what I mean? Like I want to go, but I feel like I don't want to go. We'll see what happens. But aside from that, that is my only plan, like tentative plan for tomorrow. All of my work is done, but I might do some Patreon reading sprints and get through some of Graceline so I can let you guys know what I think. I do want to read a couple of books for this vlog as well, and this one, as it is such a short one and an easy read from what I've read so far, shouldn't be too challenging. I am also listening to The Gate of the Feral Gods by Matt Dinnerman, which is book 4 in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, because I've been doing a lot of traveling over the last week. I've been putting the audiobook on while I've been driving just because I've had so much driving time that I felt felt like I wanted to actually consume something as opposed to just listening to music. And I don't know where I'm up to in that literally at all, because I literally just play and pause when I get in the car, and I haven't been referring to an actual copy of it or anything. I'm up to chapter 15. Does it give me a percentage on Audible? I thought that it did. It looks like I'm maybe about a third of the way through it. I have 7 hours and 13 minutes left. I am having a good time with that. If you don't know what Dungeon Crawler Carl is, it is a lit RPG following a human called Carl who leaves his house in a winter storm, and all of the houses on Earth collapse into the ground. And he hears this voice just come out of nowhere saying that they are going to be starting this intergalactic game show, and he can either try and survive on the surface of Earth or head down into the dungeon and become a participant in this game show. So he picks up his cat and he heads down to the dungeon because there's no way that he can survive in this winter storm with absolutely no equipment. He's not even really wearing clothes. And they both become players in this game. So every book is a level of this dungeon, and they start from like the surface and go deeper and deeper down. So book 1 covers level 1 and 2, and then after that every book is just one level. So I think at book 4 we're now up to level 5, and I'm enjoying the setting of this one a little bit more. I just feel like these books for me, because every floor has a different theme, and none of the floor themes have really worked for me. I liked the first one, which was essentially nothing, and the second one was fine. The third level, okay. Did not like level 4. Level 4 was like tube themed, like all of these subway systems in the world, and that was just like crazy confusing, intentionally crazy confusing, but aesthetically it wasn't really doing anything for me with like the schematics and the theming of the floor. And this one is kind of like a barren wasteland kind of vibe. I want something like, I guess, a little bit more exciting, a little bit more, I don't want to say enjoyable because that's not the point of this series, but I want something just a little bit more elaborate in a less dark and grungy kind of way, you know, because we have the opportunity to do something completely different with every floor, and I feel like none of the themes have quite hit with me yet, but I am enjoying this a little bit more than I was like the train theme. And as usual, it's full of humor, full of shenanigans, and the audio performance is amazing. So that's currently what I'm working on. I need to go and set up for Fortnite. I just wanted to come give you guys a little bit of a rundown of what happened yesterday. And I've been getting so many like wonderful, amazing, supportive comments on the reel that I posted, because a lot of you guys know like how much I love Red Rising. I kid you not, whenever I meet somebody, especially because I've been meeting a lot of like book lovers recently, going to different events and speaking to a bunch of different people, the first thing I do is say, have you read Red Rising? And if they say no, I'm like, this is why you need to read Red Rising. Like, I recommend it to everybody I come across. When I'm getting bookish tattoos, I'm like, dude, you need to read Red Rising. And not even bookish ones, actually. I think every tattoo artist I've been to, aside from the one in Thailand, I've been like, you need to read Red Rising. So I am truly committed to spreading the good word, and it's just wild that I got to meet Pierce Brown, and I don't think I'll ever be over it. This is the whole reason why this vlog exists, because I needed to include this in this vlog, because it's just such a momentous occasion in my booktube journey, and I'm shooketh. I just don't know what to do with myself. I'm gonna go. So I started the Christmas clean today because we are doing decorations tomorrow. I'm generally like a very strict December 1st decorator, but as this year December 1st does fall on a Monday, I feel like it just makes sense to do the decorations on Sunday because we have more time to do the cleaning, get the tree up, all of that jazz. But this afternoon I also did sprints with my patrons, and while I was sprinting I posted out all of my slightly overdue Patreon bookmarks, and I also ordered a couple of Christmas presents, which, guys, I'm so behind. I normally have all of my Christmas shopping done aside from bits by the end of October, and it is December tomorrow, no, in 2 days. And I have ordered one present. I have pre-ordered something else that somebody asked me to pre-order, but that only comes out in February and they literally told me to do it, so I don't count that. But I'm very, very behind. So I need to get a move on, because the problem is that I don't even know what I want to buy anyone. I truly just have not thought about it. And this is so unlike me. I need to get my ass into gear. But I haven't really read anything today. I've just read a couple of chapters. So I'm going to have a bit of a cozy evening. It's Curtis's busy period, which essentially means that he's working weekends and he's also going to be working this evening, leaving me all by myself. So I'm currently 31% into Graceline, and I would like to get through a big chunk of this tonight, because I'd also like to get this book done by the end of the month and have it in my November wrap up, because especially like I said yesterday, it's not a difficult read and it's not an especially long one. That being said, I'm not having an amazing time with it, and I don't hate it, for sure. But I think that because I've been a little preoccupied when I've been reading it, I haven't given it a good go yet where I've sat and read like a decent amount of it. So I haven't really been able to get into a flow with it at all. And now I'm kind of like a third of the way through. So that really needs to happen. And it's what I'm hoping is going to happen tonight. So this is following a young girl, or young woman, should I say. I'm pretty sure she's like the niece of the king or something like that. Both of her parents are dead because obviously this is like a classic YA story. So who needs parents, am I right? And she has the grace of killing. And as I said, this is a world where people have different graces. You can have the grace of mind reading. I think somebody said something to do with water was one of the graces, but her grace is killing, which means that she's especially talented at it. I don't really know what it is that makes her better at killing than other people, because she's also, of course, because it's a YA book of its time period, she's reluctant to kill as well, as she hates doing it, but especially because she's doing it kind of like on the king's order. And I think it's the grandfather of a different kingdom's prince or king who has been kidnapped, and right at the beginning of the book she retrieves him, and then they're trying to figure out who kidnapped him. So I thought they were looking for him, but they're looking for the people who kidnapped him to figure out why they did it. And she teams up with his grandson to try and see if he has any insight and can get to the bottom of it, and those two are trying to puzzle out what happened while also growing more and more attracted to each other. So the writing style in this is very like matter of fact, and it is also a little bit repetitive, and I think that is contributing to why I'm struggling with this one just a tad. But like I said, I truly haven't given it like a good go yet, so judgment, like I'm withholding my judgment until I've done that. We have just got to a point where I guess tensions are rising between the main character and who I'm assuming is going to be the love interest, and that did pique my interest a little bit. So if we carry on down that direction, then I feel like there's potential for me to enjoy that. But I feel like we didn't get as much world building as I would like. It's very much like kind of self-explanatory, I guess. Like these people have these graces and it just means that they're good at stuff and that's it. And then we have the politics between the kingdoms, which I'm doing that thing again, and I am consulting the map in this, but I'm doing that thing where I'm really struggling to follow who belongs to which royal family and what country we're in and what country everybody else is in. But hopefully that will also come with time. So because I'm having a cozy evening, I want to like switch up my reading with another activity. I really want to game, but I just don't feel like I have the attention span for it anymore, and I actually really want to fix my attention span and stop spending all of my time on the internet looking for like instant gratification and instant dopamine and serotonin. So I got real deep real quick. But yeah, I want to kind of lock into stuff for a good period of time again and no peace. So that's what I'm working towards. I feel like I'm just kind of a little bit like slumpy because of the season, because of the weather. It's rained all day and I'm just like unmotivated, and I am torn between wanting to like really lock in and watch like binge a TV show or just like binge a book and be cozy, but also like feel the need to do things and be productive, because that's what really satisfies me. Like I feel amazing. You know when you've had a good productive day and then you sit down at 7 p.m. and you're like, I have earned the right to do absolutely nothing for the rest of the day. That is a good day for me. But then getting the motivation to do all of the things that give me that level of satisfaction where I can then turn into a couch potato, God, that's hard to come by. So that's kind of the life that I want to live, and it would be great if I could kind of sell into that at some point. So I'll be honest, I've done a couple of productive things today, but not in a way where I feel like relaxed and ready to lock into my book. But hopefully I can find some calm this evening, especially because I have had quite a busy week, and just do nothing. I just struggle to do nothing without feeling not overwhelmed, but like restless, I guess. And I wish that I could just do, and I'm saying do nothing, it's enjoying my hobbies. I wish I could enjoy my hobbies without feeling restless. That is something that I really want to be in my future someday.
It's the end of the year. Everywhere on TV, couples and Christmas trees, gift wrapping and cheer. Just the worst time to be without someone special. In all the movies there, kissing in the snow, holding hands and mittens, baking together at home. I like the movies when I'm walking in the snow, cold hands and mittens, eating gingerbread home alone. I dream of December nights, kissing under bright lights, snowflakes in my hair, carols playing in the air. I dream of December nights, kissing under bright lights, red bow in my hair, sleigh bells in the air. They're all
I love how cozy my living room is when the decorations are up. I've been looking at other stuff as well. Like I want a garland for the fireplace that's in my reading room, my office. And I also want like a thin tree for that. But I'm like, is 2 trees too extra? I know if you guys are in the US, the majority of you are going to say no, 2 trees is not enough trees. But in the UK, I feel like the majority of people, at least when I was growing up, I don't know if anything's like super different right now, but the majority of people just have one like family room Christmas tree and that is it. Maybe you have some other bits going on like ceiling, window decorations, but just the one tree. So I feel a little bit extra getting another one, but then there's only this room that ever feels particularly festive. And I actually spend most of my time in my office because I do, like, obviously I work from there. And then if I do live streams on an evening, I essentially am spending the whole day in there and there's no festive cheer. I found a reasonably priced garland that looks really good. But Christmas trees, even like really thin ones, I feel unnecessarily expensive. And I never want to buy them post-Christmas because I'm not enthusiastic about Christmas decorations post-Christmas when everything's reduced, and then I don't want to pay for them before Christmas because they're all full price. But I'm going to try and read some of my book. I've just done a Crafty Corner live show with my patrons, which is a monthly one that we do where we like just craft and chat for an hour with the upper tiers of my Patreon. And now I'm going to try and read some more of Graceline. I'm 60% of the way through this, which in the physical copy translates to page 253. I'm up to chapter 28 and I'm not hating this, but I'm also not loving it. Settling in yesterday and reading larger chunks of it at a time definitely helped. I essentially read like 10% and then watched an episode of the new season of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and then kept alternating between the two, and I definitely enjoyed it more when I was reading it for a longer period of time. But I feel like when I put it down and I pick it back up, I'm kind of like, where am I? What's going on? I don't really care. It's just one of those books where I don't feel like I have a lasting desire to pick it back up when I'm not in it, which obviously that's not too inspiring, but I think that this feels like its age. I think that Graceline was published in 2008 and it definitely feels like it was. It's not quite as, I'm going to put this in quotation marks, it's not quite as YA as I expected it to be, knowing that it was a YA staple. And actually it reads a lot like the Poison Study series by Maria V. Snyder, which I really enjoyed the first book, but I didn't love the rest of the series. And I feel like these two series I definitely associate with each other as being published around a similar time, having a similar kind of style to them, and it definitely has the hallmark tropes and themes of a lot of young adult that I've read, but I feel like the writing style of it feels a little bit more timeless than a typical young adult novel, if that makes sense. Something like the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer, I would say, is a solid, like, typical young adult writing style. This feels a little bit outside of that, and I think it's because it was slightly before the big young adult boom. But I just don't love the short, sharp sentences that run throughout this. It's not that it lacks description, and it's not that I'm necessarily disconnected from the characters. It just feels very abrupt and like one thing after another, after another, after another, because it does use so many short sentences. And I think that because of that, it feels like I said, like we're doing a thing and we move on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and the conversations feel like that as well. And I think that it is that is putting me off this slightly. But otherwise, I would generally say that I'm liking it, but I'm not loving it. I don't think that this is going to be a new favorite for me, unfortunately. I don't mind the romance in it. I'm not obsessed with it, but I feel like there's a bit of chemistry there. I'm enjoying it. Whether I continue on with the series, we'll have to wait and see when I'm finished. I'm definitely going to be unhauling this copy because it's a secondhand copy that's gone kind of gross over time, so I won't be keeping this. Will I replace it the way I feel right now? Probably not, but I do own book 2, so I feel like I may still continue on even if I unhaul this and decide not to replace it right now, to see how I feel while the book is already on my shelf. And it is, like this one, a pretty short one, so it wouldn't take me too long to get through. Saying that though, obviously when I'm not super enjoying a book, I obviously read it a little bit slower because I'm stopping and starting and I'm not as willing to pick it up as I am when I'm really enjoying something. So I could probably read a book that was longer than this that I'm enjoying more a lot faster. But yeah, very middle of the road right now, but we'll see how the last like 40% plays out. So I'm currently on sprints with my patrons. This is actually my 3rd live show in as many days, and I'm not going to be stopping anytime soon because I've decided to do a week of sprints on Patreon, because I dropped the ball just a little bit with live shows in October for obvious reasons, and nobody expected me to make it back up, but I was like, you know what would be really fun if we did like a full week of sprints where I came and I sprinted every day. So between now and Sunday, I'm going to be doing at least 2 hours of sprints, but I'm aiming for like 3 to 5 per day, which is great because I want to see how much I read, dedicating this time to sprinting with my patrons every single day. I know on the Wednesday one, because I'm doing daytime sprints on Wednesday, Monday and Tuesday at evening. So for Wednesday, I may not get much read. I may choose to edit instead, but for the evening sprints, I'm definitely expecting to get through quite a bit. Fingers crossed. Sometimes I don't read as much on sprints as I generally think I'm going to. I tend to cap at about like 70 to 100 pages, but hopefully, because I'm going to shelve it or scrap it when I finish this vlog, hopefully I do manage to get through a little bit more of that. Speaking of things that I've gotten through though, the reason why I'm here is because I have just finished Graceline on sprints, and I'll be honest, I'm kind of glad that this is over. I did like it, but I did find myself growing quite weary of the narrative at multiple points throughout this one. And as I got towards the end of this, I kind of realized what it was that was putting me off a little bit in this story, and that is that it reminds me of things like Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher, which once again was a book that I liked, but I didn't love. And through reading that and then stories like Sorcery and Small Magics by Make Ducey, I discovered that I don't like your typical quest-based book, especially when it's like a standalone fantasy story around 300 to 400 pages, and we're following a character who kind of goes on a mission and then she encounters somebody and then like something else happens that derails them. And you know, like your typical fairy tale kind of story where it has a self-contained plot and it's like kind of a string of events. And it feels weird saying it like this, because is every book not just a string of events? Is that not what life is? Just a string of events? But it's kind of like they go on to the next thing and then the next thing and then the next thing. And I think because it is a self-contained plot as well, and in the style of books like this, and also especially like Nettle and Bone, there's something about it that's really unappealing to me, and I haven't quite figured out what it is yet and why I don't tend to enjoy those stories. I think it might be because when we're talking about fantasy, I think that I have a tendency, well, I know that I have a tendency to lean towards epics. That is my preference. And so when we meet a fantasy story that has a much narrower scope, it doesn't satisfy me in the way a fantasy with an epic plot does. I like big plot twists, I like betrayals, I like dramatic moments, I like really intricate, sweeping, complex plots. And I think for the longest time I have described myself as a fantasy reader, which I am. I read predominantly fantasy, but I think specifically I like epic fantasy, and I'm actually thinking about exploring epics within the historical genre. I have Con Iggulden on my mind. I've been eyeing up his Roman Empire story. I've heard great things about his Genghis Khan story, and I do think that stories like that I'm going to really get along with, even though I'm not somebody who likes historical fiction. Remember, there are certain time periods that I dislike, like the Regency era, Victorian London, World War II, but I like older stories that deal with like ancient history and ancient civilizations, and also like folklore, and when religion was kind of converting the people of Europe specifically, because I know a little bit, just a smidge more about European history, although this happened in various places throughout the world. But when Christianity was coming and like replacing folklore throughout a lot of countries in Europe, but like I said, also the rest of the world, there are obviously different subgenres of fantasy that I enjoy. I like romantic fantasy, but once again, I prefer it more on the epic side as opposed to a smaller, self-contained, slightly romantic fantasy story like this one is. And I think that is why I didn't have the best time with this book. No, like I said, I enjoyed it once I kind of realized, because I only went into this knowing that a lot of people really liked it. I didn't know what kind of fantasy story it was, but when I got halfway through and I realized that it was more of like a self-contained quest-based story, I did enjoy it a little bit more. I liked the romance. Once again, wasn't a huge fan, but it was okay, like it did the job. And I think for the kind of story that it is, it was good. It was enjoyable. I am going to be unhauling this copy because, like I said, this particular copy is gross. I don't think I'm going to be replacing it, and I am going to keep Fire on my shelves for now because I may pick it up in the future. Fire is once again a self-contained story following a different character who I believe is actually called Fire. I'm assuming that she has a fire grace. And book 3 is called Bitter Blue, which follows a character I'm assuming that we meet in here. here. I don't know if it follows Katza again, because I know that book 3 is considered a direct sequel to Graceline. If I ever stumbled across them in a charity shop, I might pick them up, or if I really like Fire a lot more than I enjoyed Graceline, I may pick them up, but I do think that it is just going to be a case of me reading Fire because I have it. And honestly, I wouldn't have minded DNFing this at a couple of points throughout it, so maybe after I've sat with it for a little while, I may end up just unhauling Fire, because I didn't like it enough to prioritize it, which means that Fire has the potential to once again sit on my shelves for a very long time. And at this point in my life, I think I just want to prioritize series and books that I love as opposed to ones that I just kind of passively enjoy, you know. But if you do like a quest-based story, if you are a fan of, like I said, something like Nettle and Bone, I do feel like you will enjoy this because it has that kind of story structure and writing style, but with a lot of the hallmarks of YA and like good classic nostalgic YA. Unfortunately, I just prefer the scope of my plots to be a little bit more epic in general. So while I enjoyed this, it was not a massive hit for me. So I'm now going to be pivoting. This one I think was Vanessa's pick for my Patreon pick. I wanted to get 3 books into this vlog, but I think at this point, because I had such a rough time getting into this one, yes, it was Vanessa's pick, that we're just going to manage 2. And out of the 3 Patreon picks that I have left, the one that is most achievable in the time frame that I have left for this video, and also low-key the one that I'm the most excited about. I was torn between picking up The Shadow of the Wind, which I'll just grab. Aaron told me that the audiobook of this is really good, so I think I'm going to at least put the audiobook on and read along with this one when I do get around to it. But The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, this one is my most recent Patreon pick, but it would have fit for one of my next prompts for Clear Your Shit really well, which is to read a book in a different time. However, I'm going to be going, because I feel like that one's going to be not necessarily dense, but more of an introspective novel that I'm going to want to take my time with a little bit more. And right now, I'm very excited to read Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I think this is actually going to be quite refreshing because I haven't read contemporary romance in quite some time. I actually don't think I could tell you the last contemporary romance book that I read. I've heard really good things about Christina Lauren. This one deals with grief and loss, so I think it delves into some like deeper topics, which I like a contemporary romance that has a little bit more behind it than just the relationship. But we're also dealing with a second chance romance here, following 2 people who grew up together, were childhood best friends. I think they got into a relationship in their teenage years, thought they'd be together forever. However, they broke up, and our main female character is now engaged to this man that she thinks she's going to marry. He makes her feel safe, but she doesn't have like the passion and connection that she had in that first relationship. And so when this guy comes back, she kind of questions the life that she's now chosen for herself.
The door's wide open on how hard or how challenging or how chill you want this ride. Deep inhale, exhale, let's drop into Hell's Kitchen, New York.
I'm sorry. I'm so ready to go to bed. It's 11 p.m. After I finished my sprints tonight, I watched an episode of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives while I finished ordering one person's Christmas presents. I'm trying to do a person per day because I'm so unprepared for Christmas. It needs to get done. So I was finishing up that while I was watching Mormon Wives and also scheduling my sprints for tomorrow, which are going to be daytime ones. So my plan is to, fingers crossed, go for a run in the morning, and then I'm going to edit during sprints tomorrow. We're starting at midday. But I wanted to talk to you guys before I got in bed because I am over halfway into Love and Other Words right now. This reads really quick, pretty much because it's a contemporary romance. I'm on page 217 out of I think 403. And guys, I don't want to jinx it, but I am getting slight 5-star feelings from the very first chapter of this, from the prologue. Is it a prologue? Let me just fact check myself. It is a prologue. From the prologue, I was getting strong 4-star vibes, and that continued. But as we obviously get further into the book and the romance actually starts to develop, I'm getting the 5-star feeling, you know, like I'm starting to emotionally connect to this book and to this couple, because that's what's important to me when I'm reading. It's the emotional connection between me and the book that makes me rate it highly. If I read a book and I enjoyed it, thought it was really good, don't really have any criticisms, but I didn't connect on an emotional level, that's a 4-star. I need the emotional connection, I need to be invested for it to be 5. And now that I'm halfway through this book, I'm starting to get there. So this reminds me of books by like Sarah Dessen that I was reading when I was a teenager, especially because we have a teenage component to this, because this is set in 2 different timelines. I am going to be using it for the Clear Your Ship prompt to read a book set in another time, because some of this book is set 15 years, between 15 and 11 years before the current narrative, and the chapters are divided between like now and then is obviously not now, so it's another time. You hear what I'm saying? I don't need to clarify that so much. I just feel like in my head, I was going to use a book in a different time period. And because it's not technically a different time period, I now feel like I have to justify it, even though that's literally just a me thing. But anyway, back to the plot of this book. We are following a woman who is engaged to this guy, and she sees her childhood everything. She literally calls him her everything friend all the time. He was her best friend. She met him when she was 13. They were best friends. And then that obviously, as they got older, went through puberty, developed hormones, grew into a romantic relationship that ended abruptly when I think that they were 18. I'm not currently up to that point in the timeline, so I don't know why they broke up, but it essentially resulted in her ghosting him for 11 years. And she lives in California. She lives in Berkeley, I believe. And that's kind of where she grew up and where she lives now. I think she has spent a little bit of time away though. And she is meeting up with one of her college friends in a coffee shop when she sees this guy. And immediately she's just thrown back to being a teenager, and all of the feelings that they had for each other have never really gone anywhere. However, she is now engaged to this man who's like 10 years older than her, which is absolutely fine because she's like in her late 20s. He's early 40s. He has a kid and they haven't set a date or anything, but they are engaged to be married. And so she is now trying to decide whether she should stay in the relationship that she's in, which doesn't really have any passion, but it's very safe. Like, this guy's financially stable. It's essentially a risk-free relationship. Or should she go for this more passionate, tumultuous relationship that comes with all of these big, scary feelings and fears? And from what I can gather from her narrative throughout the entirety of this book, that is the only issue with this guy. He's called Elliot, like her childhood everything friend. The only issue is that she cares about him so much because she talks about how like she doesn't need a relationship like this in her life. And I do think that it is just because of the immensity of her feelings surrounding him, because I think actually in terms of him as a person, like, he's pretty responsible. He's not going to be out all night drinking and cheating, you know, like, he's not out here taking risks. He is somebody who would prefer to sit and read a book than do literally anything else. So I do think it is just the enormity of her own feelings that's kind of holding her back, especially because content warnings, this does deal heavily with loss, because before this book even starts, the main character's mum dies when she's 10, and it's just her and her dad kind of trying to cope, essentially trying to live. And before her mother died, she wrote this guidebook of all of the things that he needed to do with his daughter at different points in her life, because her mother wouldn't be there, and obviously as a young woman she would need the life experience of a woman to help guide her. So they're living by this kind of guidebook which pops up throughout the book. And then we find out also, I think in the first couple of chapters, that in the 11 years that these two have been apart, her father has also died. Obviously I don't know at this point, but I do feel like it's going to be something like the fear of loss that is holding her back from this relationship. But as we are seeing them connect over the years in the past timeline, and also seeing where our main characters are in the present timeline, I'm feeling it. So I'm hopefully going to finish this tomorrow. I'm sad that I can't read in sprints. I did want to get some editing done today, but I had to because I'm doing sprints every day, I had to get a workout in so that I was available for sprints in the evening. I did manage to film 2 videos though, and also a reel. So my aim for tomorrow is to get my wrap up edited and up for early access on Patreon for every sprint session. I think I mentioned this yesterday, but I've set a goal, and that is my goal for tomorrow. But I also would like to get my upcoming content post up on Patreon, which I post at the beginning of every month as well, because I try to get that up before my first like video post date of the month. And then if I have some time left over, I'm going to read some more of this. I'm actually going to go to bed and read some more of this now though as well. So Curtis just really conveniently started playing Cocaine and Cambria in the kitchen while he does the dishes, just as I was about to press record on this. But today I did my sprints in the daytime on Patreon. I went for a run this morning and I did productivity sprints. So I did like a bunch of editing, got a lot of like admin, both work admin and life admin done, and I'm feeling really accomplished today. And I only have 130 pages left of my book, which honestly is going to fly by. So I'm going to put my pajamas on and I'm going to do my dailies on Fortnite because the new season has started now. Remember I told you guys that I wasn't going to get the Simpsons Battle Pass? I did not. Had no interest in that, but I have got the new one. So I'm back on the daily grind. I'm going to do my dailies and then I'm going to alternate between a certain amount of my book, 10%. 50 pages, and The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I think I'm 4 episodes in now and I'm enjoying it. I live for the drama. We know this, you know that I'm a big reality TV fan.
It's like this calm, like quiet. It was like, thank you guys, I really appreciate it. Things have been really hard. Like I was like, Jordan was crying, and so like I was holding back laughter.
I have been and got my hair did this morning. We're trying a different colour. I've gone pink this time. Normally I have a lilac toner just because when it fades the blonde's a little brighter, but I'm getting bored of my hair and I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm feeling. So we're trying out a pink toner and we'll see. I like how it's turned out though. I don't know how well you can see it in this light, but in daylight I am a fan. But anyway, last night I did finish Love and Other Words and then I watched another episode of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So I'm halfway through the season now. I'm 5 episodes deep and as always I am living for the drama. It always blows my mind how meta the Mormon Wives are though, because I watch Vanderpump Rules, okay, and those are the only 2 shows that I watch in this specific reality TV style. And in Vanderpump they never address the fact that they're on a show apart from the reunion episodes, whereas the whole plotline of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives revolves around the fact that they're on the show. Like they're always arguing about not necessarily who gets more money, but people who think that they should have more money or would rather other people be removed so that they got money, or people who've left the show because of whatever drama and have come back because of whatever drama. And I think the next episode I'm watching is following them as they're filming, like the intro for the show, the promo, the reunion, and it's so weird in comparison to how Vanderpump Rules does it, but I'm definitely living for the drama and it adds an extra level of realism because we know that a lot of these situations are manufactured for the drama. To see them arguing about the fact that they're on a show and the money and opportunities they get from that, because realistically that would be something that is talked about quite a lot, I imagine, even on shows that don't talk about it like Vanderpump Rules. But anyway, back to the matter at hand, which is of course the book. I did not end up giving this 5 stars in the end, unfortunately. I did give it a high 4-star rating though. This was so reminiscent to me of romances that I loved when I was a teenager, like I said, Sarah Dessen, and that is because we do have all of this past timeline stuff where the characters are actually teenagers, which definitely gives those vibes. But also just the type of story this is reminded me of older contemporary romance stories, and I'm not the biggest contemporary romance reader, though I do like to dip in the romance pool now and again, and I can't tell you why exactly books like this feel so different. They just feel like they have a little bit more going on in the plot. The characters feel like more 3D and there's more going on in their lives than just the romance, while the romance is still the focus. Where I feel like a lot of romance I read that has been published more recently is literally just a speedrun of the relationship, and they do have other stuff going on, but they don't actually feel like real people. They don't actually feel like real relationships. And I will say that one of the reasons why I like stories like this is because there is a level of suspending my disbelief, because obviously the situations that these characters get themselves into are manufactured by the author to be a little bit more dramatic, to heighten emotion a little bit more, and they're not necessarily the most realistic circumstances, but they feel like they have a lot more going on in their lives than in characters of romances that I've read a little bit more recently. This book also reminded me of books by like Taylor Jenkins Reid and old school Colleen Hoover, all of which are things that I have very much enjoyed in the past. Now, the reason why this did not get a full 5-star from me is because I was not fully invested in the romance. The male main character in here is a bit of a simp, and don't get me wrong, I love a simp. One of my favorite tropes is the he falls first trope, but usually when it's done in a way where the reader can tell that this man is obsessed, but the main character doesn't know. And there is no doubts about it that this guy is obsessed. He has been obsessed since the day that he met her, and even coming back into her life like 11 years after they last spoke, he's very much like, oh hi, I want to be with you, we are inevitable, we are soulmates. Well, she obviously has some stuff that she's working through, she's in this other relationship, and also because, like I said, the big scary feeling, she's very reluctant to get involved in this relationship again that has the power to hurt her so much. But there is a lot of other stuff going on that we only find out at the very end of the book, and I think that the mystery of what actually went down so that they didn't speak to each other for 11 years was something that kept me turning pages throughout the end of this. But I think he was just a little bit too committed to the point where I personally was not finding him attractive, and I like that level of investment in a relationship. I think these two are great together. I think that everything worked out perfectly. He's just not my man, you know? One of the other things that kind of put me off this a little bit is that at the age that I'm currently at, reading about horny teenagers does give me the ick a little bit, and we are following this past timeline which details them becoming friends and that blossoming into something more. I do feel like there was a lot of intentional delay within the progression of their relationship in both timelines for the sake of suspense that got a little bit tedious in parts. But obviously, teenagers, hormones, puberty, everyone's horny. At 32 years old, I don't really need to read that in detail, so I found that slightly off-putting. But otherwise, I really enjoyed the way that tension was built throughout this. I liked the way that it was narrated. I liked that it felt like those older romance books that I read when I was a teenager and also have read more recently by authors that I really enjoy. And so I would definitely love to read more from Christina Lauren in the future. And even though the teenage narrative made me feel a little bit weird in parts, it does make perfect sense for this storyline. And one thing that I really appreciated about this, because I don't think I've read a ton of second chance romances, I honestly can't think of any off the top of my head. I'm sure there will be one from somewhere. The thing that I really liked about this is that we do get that past timeline, so you see them bonding and falling for each other the first time around, instead of it kind of just throwing us in and we're expected to believe that these characters have this like whole complex history. Like, we get to see that unfold, and I haven't read a lot with this trope, so I don't know if that is the norm. I feel like it would be, but I always complain when we're talking about fantasy novels, you know how you get those main characters who are like so obsessed with like their sibling and, oh my god, I love my sibling so much, and when we see them, they're either being completely awful to the character or they're like dead or missing or something, and it gets annoying that the character is so hung up on this character that we don't know when we haven't seen their bond and that relationship blossom. So I'm glad that we did see the blossoming of the relationship in this book, and we didn't just kind of jump in halfway through their story and had to care about their relationship there. This was a win, probably one of the best contemporary romances that I've read this year. I did look at my statistics, I think yesterday, and I've read more contemporary romances than I expected, I think. According to my spreadsheet, I have read 9 contemporary romances this year. I know that I read the Sapphic one with the photographer. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. Oh, I read My Fault by Mercedes Ron. I read The Deal by Elle Kennedy. That was one of my favorites, and I actually read an Abby Jimenez book. I read Part of Your World this year. Also really enjoyed that. So I think on the contemporary romance front, Part of Your World, The Deal, and this are probably my highlights for contemporary romance this year. RIP to my keyboard, damn. Let me just undo that. This brings us to the end of this vlog. I can't believe I met Pierce Brown this week, guys. Can you believe it? I'm still not over it. I'm still thinking about it daily. I don't think I'm ever going to be over it. What an amazing week. And that was just like the beginning of the week. The rest of the week was fairly normal, but what a way to start a weekly reading vlog. This is potentially the last weekly reading vlog that you are going to see from me this year, because the next vlog that you're going to see is going to be the next episode of Shelve It or Scrap It, which I've already started filming. That is going to be a 7-book episode following the Clear Your Shit prompts. I have used both of the books that I read for this vlog for prompts for Clear Your Shit. I used Love in Other Words, as I think I told you, for a book set in another time, and I think for Graceline I went for a book with magical elements because it's a fantasy, so it fits. And I'm going to continue to make progress in that readathon throughout the rest of the year. I do think that I'm going to start filming another weekly reading vlog before the end of the year, but I think you guys are only going to see that in January. So I hope you have a wonderful festive period. As usual, thank you guys so much for your support over 2025. YouTube have actually done like a little wrapped thing like Spotify does this year, and so many of you guys have tagged me on Instagram letting me know that I've been in the top 5 channels that you've watched watched this year. Thank you so much for that. There were so many that I couldn't repost them all, but I'm so grateful that you guys choose to spend your time watching my channel out of all of the amazing booktube channels out there. And I know because I'm subscribed to a lot of them and I also watch quite a few. So for you guys to choose me time and time again and keep returning to my videos truly means a lot, and I'm so appreciative to you. I always do a little speech like this when we get to the end of the year, because obviously this is my livelihood. This is what I do on a day-to-day basis, and I wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. So when we are in a period of the year where it's time to be thankful and grateful and appreciative and look back on the year we've had, I always want to take the time to let you guys know that you are important, and that if you guys weren't here, I actually wouldn't be able to do this. And that would suck. So thank you guys so much. Aside from that, I do hope you've enjoyed this vlog if you've made it this far. If you have, please don't forget to like if you liked it and subscribe if you wanna. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you'll go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.